Yesterday, I was in the Judiciary Committee, and a bill was brought forward, a hearing for a bill that essentially was a fix to a bill that passed in 2015, which was the Advocate Privilege Bill for domestic violence advocates. So domestic violence advocates don't actually have to testify in court now. But the problem with that bill and why they brought forth a fix-it bill, essentially, is because the recognition that Native American domestic violence advocates on reservations were excluded from the bill. And it wasn't that they were intentionally excluded. There was just not a recognition that they were talking about people on federal lands and that federal law applied in some way, shape, or form there. And so they had to make that exception or addition, I guess, for domestic violence advocates on tribal lands. And so there's a huge misunderstanding or just lack of clarity altogether about what tribal governments mean, what the government-to-government relationship is with Native folks, what termination meant, why termination happened. There's so many details to tribal law and clarity and understanding about how all that works or doesn't work here in this state and all over the country.
As a kid, I remember learning all about the Trail of Tears, Geronimo, the typical stuff that's in textbooks. And kids in school don't learn about our own Trail of Tears and the fact that as a citizen of Western Oregon, they're living, going to school, existing, playing, doing everything they do on our Aboriginal homelands.
There are so many problems that our students have when going into a public school system. I evaluate culturally specific Head Start programs at the Native American Youth and Family Center, and the number one concern of the parents is that transition. It's extremely hard. There's reports of bullying, inappropriate curriculum, inaccurate curriculum, and it causes problems for years to come.
We have 4 sons, and it's very important for us to see a change. We know the struggles they had going to public school and experiencing the different prejudices and the different people and other students that either would disrespect the fact that they were Native American, or they would expect them to present old stereotypes and not believe that they were Native American. We really would like to see a change in that for the Native American students.
Every day, kiddos go to school and they can see people who look like them, who made history in some way, shape, or form. When that doesn't happen for African American kids or Native American kids or Latino kids or Asian kids, because we're sort of written out of history, because that's hard to, to deal with some of the things that Europeans did to those people. They write them out to just pretend like it didn't happen. And when we see that, and when Native kids see that, they can't really invest in that history because it doesn't belong to them.
I want my children to feel good about who they are. I want them to be able to fully participate in both communities. I want them to experience the joy that I've experienced my life of, being part of my Native community, as well as being able to get a job. And so to feel good about yourself, I think, is fundamental to just being a good human being. In order for Native students to feel good about themselves, they need to be reinforced by their peers, which might be Native or non-Native. And so if their, especially non-Native peers, are completely ignorant about what it means to be Native, they can't reinforce that in a positive way.
Senate Bill 13 is important for non-Native students because all children deserve curriculum that's honest. All children deserve to hear a responsible, complete, full story of Oregon. All children benefit when they hear the perspectives of Oregon's 9 tribes and Indigenous peoples everywhere. And all children need to learn about Native nationhood and sovereignty so that they can be responsible citizens in Oregon.
I think what a huge number of people in Oregon don't understand is sovereignty. That as a tribe and as a people, we have, we have treaty rights that guarantee us access, for instance, to parcels of land, which of course our casino is built on, but not only that, places where we gather our traditional foods, places where we conduct our traditional ceremonies, and places that make us still to this day who we are.
I've been in education a long time. I have advocated not only for my rights as an Indigenous woman in the United States of America, but for all Indigenous people. And to think that here I am in the year 2017, and we're finally having this conversation, is overwhelming. I'm excited. I'm a little bit anxious that we'll do a good job with it. But for me, it's another step forward that's got to be healthy, because what we have right now is not particularly healthy.